Cartoons in the 80s were, well, they were awesome. If there was a blockbuster movie, it was a cartoon. If it had teenage turtles that were ninjas and their sensei was a giant rat, it was totally the 80s and it was a cartoon. But to find the absolute greatest 80s cartoons, we've analyzed some of the best cartoon ranking sites online along with our own favorites here at RetroCrunch to bring you the top 15 cartoons from the 80s. So with that out of the way, let's roll out! Number 15, MASK, or Mobile Armored Strike Command. This is a special task force that is led by the multimillionaire Matt Tracker.
What happened? Where's Scott?
Hondo's hurt bad, Matt. And Scott's gone.
Venom.
His team operates transforming armored vehicles in their ongoing battle against Miles Mayhem and his criminal organization Venom. Both Mask and Venom have superpowered helmets called masks that give the person wearing it special powers, like shooting lightning bolts, jumping great distances, or even flying. This cartoon series was hugely popular in the 1980s, and it's a favorite among cartoon enthusiasts even to this day.
Mask may have won the battle, but the war goes on. Next time, the victory will be mine!
Number 14, the Care Bears. These gentle bears live in a far-off home in the clouds called Care-a-Lot that's deep in the kingdom of caring. With the help of the cousins and their buddies, they go all around the world on missions of caring, while the evil villains Professor Coldheart and Lord No Heart try to ruin their plans.
Just hurry before No Heart comes back.
This is the end for you all.
That's what you think, No Heart.
Arbuckle, door. So hard to find good help.
Number 13, Garfield and Friends. It's based on the comic strip Garfield and follows the daily life of that lasagna-loving cat Garfield, also his faithful companion Odie, and their owner, John Arbuckle. The cartoon also features a second show segment called U.S. Acres that was set in a barnyard, and Garfield would sometimes make an appearance on that segment as well with the cleanest pig in the world, Orson Pig. Number 12, Alvin and the Chipmunks. The Chipmunks have been around for a very long time, but they were especially popular in the 1980s. Alvin, Simon, and Theodore are a trio of singing chipmunks that were adopted by their human Dave, who also happens to manage their musical band. In the first season, the show also introduced 3 female versions of the Chipmunks that were named Brittany, Jeanette, and Eleanor. These are essentially female mirror images of the boys, and they were also regulars on the cartoon for all 7 seasons. Number 11, Inspector Gadget, a stellar theme tune and cool cartoon that follows the adventures of a clumsy and accident-prone cyborg police inspector named Gadget. He's constantly hunting down Dr. Claw and his organization Mad, but with little success on his own. But Gadget's niece Penny and her dog Brain are usually the ones that are truly responsible for stopping Mad in each episode. Also, you might recognize that Inspector Gadget was actually voiced by Don Adams from the TV show Get Smart.
Inspector Gadget does it again.
Well, you haven't seen the last of Dr. Claw Gadget.
Number 10, The Real Ghostbusters. Not to be confused with that other ghost cartoon. The Real Ghostbusters is an animated spin-off of the 1984 blockbuster movie Ghostbusters. Like the movie, in this cartoon the series follows the 4 Ghostbusters, their secretary Janine and their accountant Lewis, and that iconic mascot Slimer, as they chase and capture rogue ghosts around New York City and various other places in the world. Number 9, Jim Henson's Muppet Babies. This cartoon takes place in a children's nursery where Kermit, Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, and the rest of the Muppet Babies go on fantasy adventures. Sometimes they even reenact scenes from famous movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark and Star Wars. Number 8, Voltron. During its initial run, it was the top-rated syndicated children's show on television. Voltron, Defender of the Universe, was about a team of space explorers who pilot a giant super robot known as Voltron. The first season of Voltron featured the Lion Force Voltron. These pilots used the Lion machines to protect the planet Eris from the evil King Zarkon and the witch Hagar.
Form feet and legs. Form arms and body. And I'll form the head.
The second season, which wasn't quite as popular, featured the Vehicle Team Voltron and consisted of land, air, and sea teams that combined to form Vehicle Voltron. Number 7, The Smurfs. If you didn't sing to this theme song every episode, I don't know what to tell you. This wonderful cartoon was about magical blue elf-like creatures called Smurfs. Named for their personalities like Brainy Smurf, Jokey Smurf, and Vanity Smurf, they lived in mushroom houses in an enchanted forest. The leader of the Smurfs is Papa Smurf, and they lived a pretty happy life except for one major threat to their existence, the evil Gargamel and his feline companion, Azrael.
Oh, I hate Smurfs.
The Smurfs were constantly fighting off Gargamel, who either wanted to eat them, make them into slaves, or gain their magical secrets. Number 6, G.I. Joe. When you hear that battle cry, "Yo, Joe," you know it's time to watch a highly trained elite strike force comprised of the best of each branch of the military to fight against the ruthless terrorist organization Cobra. Whether your favorite was Storm Shadow or Snake Eyes, or even just rooting against Cobra Commander and Serpentor, G.I. Joe, a real American hero, was chock full of action-packed laser battles, really cool vehicles, and everybody remembers those PSAs at the end of each episode.
Remember, it's better to tell the truth.
And that's no lie. Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Number 5 is DuckTales. When Donald Duck decides to join the Navy, he leaves his nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, in the care of Uncle Scrooge. This eccentric trillionaire decides to take the trio on countless adventures around the world looking for treasure, or defending Scrooge's current assets from enemies like the Beagle Boys or Magica de Spell. And there were some really great side characters on the show as well, like Launchpad McQuack, Gyro Gearloose, and Flintheart Glumgold. Number 4, Thundercats. After the destruction of the planet Thundera, an inexperienced young Lion-O leads his group of Thunderans against Mumra and his mutants on the planet Third Earth.
And as Lord of the Thundercats, his responsibility is our safety.
But the one thing that the Thundercats have that Mumra doesn't is Lion-O's Sword of Omens. And with that magical sword, all of Third Earth better be ready, because Lion-O needs to recite just one phrase and it's all over. Number 3 is He-Man. This series takes place on the planet Eternia, with Prince Adam, who's the young son of Eternia's rulers, King Randor and Queen Marlena. Whenever Prince Adam is in danger and needs to defend the kingdom and his friends, he holds the Sword of Power aloft and proclaims,
By the power of Grayskull.
Together with his Battle Cat and close allies Teela, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko, He-Man uses his powers to defend Eternia from the evil forces of Skeletor, who seeks enough power to rule Eternia.
Why do I surround myself with fools? Even the robots are smarter than you.
Number 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The most bodacious reptiles in the universe. One of the most beloved and iconic cartoons of the 80s, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles captured the imagination of kids like no other show of its time. It's the adventures of 4 baby turtles who were transformed into life-size pizza-loving mutant turtles by a strange ooze, along with their martial arts master Splinter.
And that is how they became the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
This awesome foursome, known as Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael, along with the intrepid reporter April O'Neil, fight the evil threats of the world. Shredder and his Foot Clan, along with the evil alien warlord Krang, tirelessly pursue the Turtles while they also scheme and plan to conquer planet Earth. The show had creative stories, great animation, and some of the best one-liners ever. Finally, coming in at number 1, The Transformers. The Decepticons want to strip Earth of its vast energy resources, and the Autobots are trying to protect the Earth from those war-loving Decepticons.
We're Autobots. We're from Cybertron, a planet far from Earth.
Autobots versus Decepticons, Optimus versus Megatron. No cartoon in the 80s did as much for making little kids happy and selling a boatload of toys in the process as much as the Transformers did. Each season of the Transformers brought in bigger, stronger, and even more powerful Transformers, along with the return of characters that either died or turned into all new robots. The Transformers had it all, including one of the best cartoon theme songs ever. So do you agree with my picks on the top 15 80s cartoons? Let me know what your favorite cartoons were in the comments down below, and be sure to subscribe for more awesome 80s countdown videos.
Autobots, transform and roll out!